All right, we have another video here. It's an anime video. This is from Sufferance, and this is I think, a manga recommendation. So what this one says, the manga that's winning awards.
Ryaga Samurai. Later YouTube.
Later YouTube. So like this one's winning awards. I don't know what the anime this is or what he's referring to, so we're gonna see what this is about. Hopefully this is not a video I did before, because I sometimes run into the same video sometimes and they change the thumbnails, which is annoying. But what did I say? I'll see that in the next one. Let's see.
Let's customize my car insurance, and I saved hundreds. With all the money I saved, thought I'd buy stilts. Hi, honey. Hey.
So if you didn't know, Japan likes to hold a lot of different award ceremonies for the manga industry. Some more prestigious and massive, and others a little bit smaller. But usually they're broken up into brackets or segments just to help out in different departments. Sometimes it's for newcomers, for one-shots, for potential anime or popularity or writing. There's a whole slew of different categories, right? We had one recently just finish up called the 15th Manga Taisho Awards. And what's interesting about this award is that it's usually dedicated to series that have less than 8 volumes, and this year's nominees is around about 10 different ones, was actually rather stacked with some very prolific titles, and none of them won. There was a very unknown story that took the crown very effortlessly. And just to give you an example of what series were nominated, Oshinoko, very incredible, Dan Taking the World by Storm, and Look Back by Tatsuki Fujimoto.
Okay, I'm familiar with Oshino and Dandadan, but like, I'm not familiar with the third one. And I still haven't seen the anime on Oshino yet. I have to make time to watch it, and I think Dandadan comes out, what, this month or the following month? Is it out yet? I'm pretty sure it comes out either this month or the following month.
Now originally I would have thought that Look Back would have won this, but it came second, and the series that was nominated more than it, only by a couple of points, was a series known as Darwin Jihen, or Darwin's Incident. So of course I was extremely curious and I wanted to go check out this series, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with what I read. I assume there is a lot more for it. It is very difficult to find in English. I do believe that it is published in French, however. So if you're French, or if you speak it, you probably have a couple of volumes to work with. And I can only doubly assume on top of it that the volumes that are available are absolutely phenomenal. Because the first chapter, very simple, it's very difficult to compare it to something like Look Back or even Dan or Oshinoko, but there is potential, and a lot of it. To give you a rundown of what Darwin Jihen is, or Darwin's Incident, it goes a little like this. The story focuses on a half-human and half-chimpanzee called Charlie. This is a hybrid, but what is called an hybrid in the story. A half-human that is born from an...
Someone needs to customize.
This is interesting. Never heard of this manga at all.
...animal due to experimentation. This experimentation, however, is very controversial. It's very frowned upon, and is the prime center or conflict of the entire story. You see, there is an organization called the Animal Liberation Alliance, which its whole purpose is to free animals, to save them from cruelty, from experimentation, from being eaten, even from the slaughter. And this is a very good thing, but the extremities that this group takes it is pretty far. Obviously, they're going into organizations with guns. They are quite literally labeled as terrorists, but don't necessarily push that boundary of taking a human life to obviously free animals. They threaten it, and they're very extreme in that regard, but they just want to do right by these animals. And when you see them in cages and being experimented on, and the hideous, horrendous things that happen, you can't help but feel sorry for them. You can't help but agree with the prospect of what they're trying to do to help these poor animals. And this is where they find chimpanzee that is pregnant and has been experimented on, where Charlie actually comes from. They manage to save this chimpanzee. Charlie is born, who is known as a humanzee, half human.
So wait, if he's half human, how do they impregnate by a chimpanzee or half chimpanzee? I didn't hear that part. Hold on.
With the prospect of what they're trying to do to help these poor animals. And this is where they find chimpanzee that is pregnant and has been experimented on, where Charlie actually comes from. They manage to save this chimpanzee. Charlie is born, who is known as a humanzee, half human, half chimp.
Well, I say, what a magnificent pair of them.
Many years would pass, and Charlie is a 15...
But if the chimp is half... If it's a half chimp, half human, and it was born by a mother chimp, do they allow a regular male chimp have relations with said mom? Or was it a human? Or did they take the egg of the chimp and experimented with it? Maybe that's what they did.
Year-old boy. Very intelligent, simply spoken, not necessarily emotional, but integrated into society and the human aspect of things, right? He still has some chimpanzee qualities, but they're mixed rather efficiently with the human lifestyle.
Daddy, chill.
Because of what Charlie is and the experimentation that happened to Charlie, everything has been documented. So Charlie is pretty much known globally as being the first hybrid, someone that has been genetically enhanced with all of this technology and gene splicing, etc., to make this possible. But the horrendous ways that it happened have been definitely blanketed by society, by government, by news corporations. No one really knows the truth of how Charlie came to exist. The doctor or the experimentation process has vanished completely.
No shit.
Luckily, Charlie has been raised really well, and it's about time that he starts to go to a normal high school. This
No.
isn't Charlie's first time. He's been to other schools.
Okay, I don't
but
understand this. This is the thing I don't understand with these type of stories. If you know you have an individual who is very different, isn't it best to keep them safe by homeschooling them or put them in a program? Because it's not like he's not a secret. Everyone knows who he is. So wouldn't it make more sense to put him in homeschool? Just to keep him safe from being harmed by someone? I'm not even talking about mean comments. I mean like physically do things to him. And because he's half chimp, he probably has more strength than the average human, alongside being half human. Pretty much a Saiyan at this point. So would it make more sense to put him in homeschool with someone he recognizes or at least familiarizes himself so he doesn't feel any form of threat?
Samurai.
You know what I'm
Makes
saying? Why
sense.
would you put him in school with other children who might find him weird or might take it upon themselves to put harm on him just because he's different? And then he has chimp strength. Like, you don't want that. He might rip someone's face off. What the hell? Are you guys stupid? Like, I don't care if he's half human. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
you can only
Would you
assume.
put a full-blown chimp into a school? Probably not. Even if it can walk on four legs and write a little bit. Like, there was, back then, I think it was several years ago. I think it was 7 or 8 years ago. Probably even 10, almost a decade ago. A woman taught a gorilla how to, sign language. So the way that she can communicate with the gorilla was literally sign language, which was really smart on the gorilla's behalf. Because it really made it different. It was different because now the gorilla can sign and ask for things and talk about stuff. And the lady gave a gorilla a kitten, and I think the kitten passed away. I think it was too sick or something. It got sick, but the gorilla took care of the chimp and looked after it and loved it and all that stuff. And when it passed it away, the chimp asked for the lady who was looking after him, "Where is my chimp?" by signing it to her. She had to explain to the chimp that the cat passed away, and the gorilla. I'm saying the gorilla actually became depressed and saddened and cried over the fact that their cat was not coming back again. Now, should we put that gorilla in school because it can sign all of a sudden? No, why would you do that? No, why would you do that? That's stupid.
That the worst has happened with the amount of schools that he's been changed between. His first day goes pretty well. The school and the
It's so easy to get your windshield replaced.
That's a world of trouble. Why would you do this? I don't care if he's different. You're putting him at risk. That's a security risk. And given that he's half human, we don't know what type of what he can contract or what he can give, like sickness wise. Like, we don't know what that can entail. So it doesn't make sense to put him around a bunch of kids who might be allergic to him from somehow. What if these kids are allergic to chimpanzees and not know about it? You know what I'm saying? It's too many risk factors. I would just keep him home.
within it actually treat him rather well. They think he's cute, they think he's interesting, they obviously know about him from the news or from online internet sources, etc. Anything that has been marketed towards Charlie is documentation. They somewhat know about it. And a small incident would occur. A cat would be stuck on top of this
Hexel
tree,
Note
and another
79.
woman known as Lucy would go
Wow,
up and try
American
and get
ads
it.
play
Upon
so much.
successfully
Too much, if you ask me. They're too invasive sometimes.
getting the cat after it almost fell out of the tree, the branch starts to break and both of them start to fall. And in swoops Charlie from very far away, nowhere in the vicinity of the situation. He just happens to luckily see it or hear it and grabs both of them. This was filmed, but there was a person that recognized that what Charlie had done was nothing that a chimpanzee could do, nor a human, nor any animal. The speed at which he moved, the strength, the dexterity, everything that just went into this motion of saving a cat and Lucy from falling out of this very high tree was impossible. At first, you don't really click with that idea. It seemed pretty normal for a chimpanzee, but when it's propped up on a pedestal like that, it starts to make a little bit more sense that what Charlie is something a lot more than just being half human and half chimpanzee. The strength, speed, and qualities that are gradually intertwining and growing stronger and stronger by the day is quite fearsome. You then get to see more of the true side of the ALA, the Animal Liberation Alliance, the people that quite literally saved Charlie 15 years ago. Obviously, they do not take kindly to people eating meat or hurting animals for this idea of produce. And within this very high-class fancy restaurant that serves steak, they blow it up. Quite literally terrorist organization.
Are you serious?
Within this process, however, they injure a very small child. The purpose of this, however, is to show how insignificant that human life was in comparison to their own purpose, to their own agenda, or to their own goal. They have ramped things up exponentially, and now they are quite literally doing terrorist acts because of their own ideals. It is inherently ironic, and the first chapter ends with Charlie letting a butterfly go into the sky. Personally, I am super curious with this story, and I hope whenever, if ever, it gets translated to English, that it is well received, to continuously be translated, because I believe this story was released at the end of 2020, maybe the start of 2021, and nothing has been done for it since. But now with the award that it just recently won, over Look Back, Dan and Oshino Co, a lot more attention is going to be brought towards it, potentially fueling some sort of English release, which I think would be pretty nice. Personally, I found the story to be rather creative and intuitive. It's not too often that you see half human, half chimpanzee used so efficiently, especially with a story like this one. This is quite an important and relevant conversation for animal lives and vegans and meat eating and the quality of animal lives, etc. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and this series kind of takes that concept and amps it up exponentially. I do believe it is playing heavily into the idea that Charlie, being half human and half chimpanzee, has an interesting perspective on this entire situation, being that he is both sides of the same coin, an animal and a human. Even though he has been raised with human ideologies and human beliefs, his thought process and how he views the world is definitely a little bit different. And the way he treats very small animals and insects and just views animals in general is very in-depth, it's very compassionate. And I can only assume that this would be played upon and extrapolated much further, because I've seen some of the covers for the next volumes and I see him holding a gun. Is he truly fighting the ALA? Is he trying to understand what it means to be human, or what it means to do these actions or go to the extreme for animals? Like, what is the purpose of taking a human life to try and save animals and vice versa? Where do you draw that line? What is the duality? Where is the compassion? And when he is quite literally both sides of the coin, where does he fit within it? How does he want to help? It seems like the character Lucy, the one that he saved from the tree, is someone that too is also trying to find her way, to carve her path, to be a better person and to help in this situation, and most likely becomes quite close friends with Charlie. If you haven't already noticed, it's quite a massive series in scope. It seems like it wants to do a lot of things, and I can only hope that it does those things really well. The first chapter was extremely enjoyable. A little bit all over the place, a little bit rough, but definitely has so much potential to be a phenomenal experience and potentially tell a very important story. Definitely what will throw a lot of people off is Charlie. Half human, half chimpanzee, a human Z is a very odd and kind of quirky concept. It seems a little bit goofy at first, but because of how naturally integrated it is within the story and well conceptualized, it feels like there's so much nuance for Charlie's character. He is extremely expressionless. He is listening and learning and understanding the world and has a lot of compassion and thoughts towards animals, but rarely speaks or expresses them. This is definitely intentional, and that in itself fits perfectly within the story that's trying to be told, and I can only hope and assume that it is done well. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't curious. I really hope that with this award that it won, that it potentially becomes translated, maybe gets a couple of more English chapters, or at least the first volume. Hopefully in time we will find out, but overall I thought this is a very interesting read. If you have the opportunity to read it, whether it's in Japanese, French, or English, please do. Give it a chance, read through the first chapter. I think you'll find it very enjoyable. Different, a little bit goofy or quirky at first, but potential nonetheless. We may see more of it within the future. Fingers crossed.
Alright, so that was
End time.
Sufferance.
So with that, welcome to the end of the...
Okay, that was Sufferance with the whole, what is it called? Holy shit, I didn't... Synopsis? No, synopsis. What is it? What is it called? Oh my god, I totally forgot about the name of it. Now, oh god, I feel bad. Hold on, let's go back real quick.
incident. Would have won this, but it came second. And the series that was nominated more than it, only by a couple of points, was a series known as Darwin Jihen.
Darren GN. Oh god, Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry about that. So like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment. We guys
Pixel
enjoy
Nov
this.
7D9. I mean, that is not the wildest, considering dog and word.
Yeah, I know the dog N-word one. Yeah, I know that game, that one. I think we did a video on that already. So what like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment. Who guys enjoyed this and like great stuff. This was amazing to a certain extent. It was different. I didn't expect it to be that type of manga, but it's different. And if I ever get the chance, I might read it myself. I don't really have time to do anything, but you get what I'm saying. So with that said, I'll see you guys next one.